Well, he's back, Spud Milton. I think a lot of our favorites is back in the hot seat after 10 years. Spud returns for a reunion weekend with his old school friends, the Crazy Eight, and they are crazy. In Spud, the reunion, we catch up with Spud as he faces his past, his present, and the familiar group that shaped his high school life, and I think very much the person that he is. Joining us today is the author of the Spud series, John van der Ruit, to chat about revisiting this beloved character and what's in store for the fans, and if he is having a midlife crisis. Why did we need to write this book? Can we get a round of applause for John on past and present successes? And I say that because I think a little birdie just told me as of last night, you were King of the Hill, top fiction bestseller in the country.
No, thank you.
Acknowledge this moment. See, this is when I wish we had a live studio audience that could just be
Still,
showing.
this is enough clapping for me, thank you.
Yet you still sit here insecure about what you have created on some level.
You know, you've got to stay humble, and you've also got to stay on the edge slightly. And I think coming into this, I had no idea whether the people would still come bouncing out for Spud, whether they were going to be like, but that's like old or whatever, we moved on. But they haven't, and they've come out, and this is day 13 of my book tour, and it's just been incredible right from the start, around the country. Oh, and then last night to get this news at 10 o'clock, when I was trying to sleep, so I could look fresh for the show this morning.
No one ever looks fresh on this show, so you're perfect.
Oh, good, good.
Congratulations. And I know you don't do it for that kind of validation. I suppose the beast will out, and when the story's ready to be told, you've got to tell it.
Yeah.
But why now? Why through this particular lens? What took you back?
You know, it was COVID, which did a lot of things to people, right?
For a lot of creatives, yeah.
Yeah, and we had everything stopped. The world stopped for a while, and you think about what's gone before, you think about what's going to come. And I'd been off the Spud train for a good 7 years or so.
Because, of course, you had the movies and everything after the fact, so you were in that bubble for a while.
And that's what it felt like. I needed to get out of that bubble. But then being out of the bubble for some years, then COVID coming, it sort of struck me that, you know, I think Spud is bigger than me. It's going to outlive me. And I got this sort of really sense of like wanting to be back. And I saw the creativity in coming back 10 years later as men, you know, not just trying to recreate what I did do before, but now trying to almost recreate what I have, which had an element of risk to it.
Yeah, because it's a formula.
Well, yeah, and like also it's so different now. It's a reunion weekend. It's not a year in the life of Spud. So that just changes the whole way you approach it, structure it. Men arriving, fronting, you know, trying to like show that they've actually made it, you know, when they haven't quite yet, and finding out all those agendas. I mean, it was great, awesome to watch, to write, and actually to get into Spud's character again.
Did you just miss him? Because you've built such a rich relationship, living as that person, kind of looking at that person from a third perspective. Almost. You live in that universe. What was that like going back into there? Was there anything surprising about taking yourself back into that universe, to cop a term? Yeah.
Great question. And there was, you know, I can remember writing that first morning when I got behind the computer and I was going to write Spud's first diary entry, right, of the book. I had no idea what was going to come out. I was hoping that it was going to come out different, but you could still feel it was Spud. The dangers would have been if it felt completely different or completely the same, where he still felt like a teenager. Yeah. Then I would have been getting that wrong.
And then you would have canned the whole project.
I would have to can the whole thing.
To sleep.
And my editors and my publisher, they were like, we want to see him growing up, you know, so they wanted that. They didn't want me to slip back into fun and games, if you know what I mean. They must be fun and games, and they always are, but it's more serious. It's men now. Yeah, they've grown up, yeah. And I think people are quite surprised when they read the book. I'm getting feedback now because we've had enough time. It's been out there for just over a week, and I think they didn't see the fractious, edgy nature of this reunion. I think maybe people thought it was going to be more of a throwback and a stocking filler and something like that.
Well, life's gotten real in the time since,
That's
buddy.
it.
It really has.
That's it.
You joke about the creators. I've noticed with so many, you guys used to write a book, to produce an album, to stand on a stage and make people laugh. You needed to be a broken shell of a person with your own baggage.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
creatives are the most well kind of processed, mentally healthy and happy people because you go through the work. You've got to do that. Spud helps us deal with things, and I think that's the magic for me. He takes us there because we see a bit of ourselves through that process. What are you hoping people are going to get out of this little adventure?
Well, I think people who are at Spud's time of life, around late 20s, facing their 30s, will empathize with this 1/3 life crisis, because we all go through that, where you have to adult up, as they say. So I think that is it, but also just, I think the feeling of time passing, and perhaps the simplicity of how life was back then. For Spud, it's complicated, this reunion, but when we look at 2003, we go, gee, that wasn't even WhatsApp. That was just a small little Nokia,
back,
and it feels so simple, life then, you know. Now there's the complications. But having said that, think about how technology has impacted our life. So now to write a story where technology's just coming in without giving it away, that's where you have to be ahead of the game as the creative, as it were. And I take what you mean. It's sort of like we have to do that thinking work that makes us more open to the world in many ways.
Yeah, they call it the work, and you're doing it on behalf of all of us. So I cannot wait to process whatever I'm going to be called to process, but also just to reconnect with these amazing characters and the magic that you've created. So hopefully, maybe on day 14, you will finally believe, now that the nation has told you that it's the best book in the land. But I'm going to shake your hand one more time.
So
congratulations, my friend. Absolutely amazing. And I think as South Africans, we love to have just a little bit of ownership of creativity in this way, because it kind of represents us. Now, I think we are so sure that this latest installment will bring both the nostalgia, yes, and maybe some fresh insights for readers, and maybe about ourselves and where we are at in our lives. And we are doing a little book giveaway for one lucky viewer, just to take you one step closer. So let us know on our social media pages exactly this. Who was your favorite Spud character? And you can say Spud, it's perfectly fine. But if you want to win this one, make your answer good. Competition closes at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Terms and conditions can be found on our website, expressoshow.com. Good luck.